3 films, 1 legendary novel. But only one adaptation truly embodies the soul of I Am Legend. And it's not the flashy CGI heavy spectacle. No, my friends. The Omega Man from 1971 is the most daring, thought-provoking and unforgettable take on Richard Matheson's classic novel. Today, we're getting into why this adaptation stands above the rest, capturing the essence of Matheson's vision like no other. Matheson's 1954 novel is a bleak, thought-provoking masterpiece about isolation, science, and what it truly means to be the last man on Earth. It's been adapted 3 times, once in 1964 as The Last Man on Earth, again in 1971 as The Omega Man, and finally in 2007 as I Am Legend. Each adaptation offers its own take on Matheson's novel, but The Omega Man stands apart as the most compelling and thematically rich. Let's break it down. Vincent Price's 1964 version is the closest to the book in many ways. His character, Dr. Robert Morgan, follows a scientific routine to fight vampiric creatures, but there's a problem. Price, legendary as he is, lacks the physical presence and toughness that the role demands. He's more at home in gothic horror than post-apocalyptic action. His version of Neville feels like a scientist who stumbled into a horror movie rather than a man desperately clinging to survival. Then there's Charlton Heston, a man who practically radiates old-school masculinity. His Neville is a gun-toting, self-assured survivor, far removed from Matheson's tormented, introspective protagonist, sure. But in a world overrun by albino mutants, he's exactly the kind of man you'd want leading the charge. Heston brings a rugged, authoritative presence to the film, blending action hero confidence with a deeper awareness of his own obsolescence. His Neville isn't just a survivor, he's a man out of time, clinging to the remnants of a world that no longer exists. The tension between strength and isolation gives his performance an unexpected depth. And finally, Will Smith's 2007 version. He gives a solid performance, no doubt, but the movie shifts too far into blockbuster territory. The CGI-infected creatures? They're not scary. And worse, the film ditches the novel's core message, leading to an ending that completely misses the point. Smith's Neville is compelling, but the script completely lets him down. In 1964, the infected are slow, zombie-like vampires. Creepy, but a bit stiff. They whisper Neville's name outside of his house like they're waiting for a social visit rather than being terrifying predators. It's effective in an eerie, low-budget way, but it lacks intensity. Enter the Omega Man. Its villains, the family, are what makes it unique. They're not just mindless monsters, they're a cult, zealots who see technology as the enemy. This adds a layer of ideological conflict. Heston's Neville represents the old world, science and logic. The family represents fear of progress, rejecting the past in a bid to start over. They're eerie, intelligent, and have a leader, Matthias, who actually has a personality. He's not just a growling creature in the dark, he's a fully realised antagonist. And then we have 2007's CGI monstrosities. The Darkseekers look like unfinished video game models and rob the film of the psychological tension that made the novel so great. They're just dumb. And when your monsters are dumb, your horror is weak. They lack the tragic humanity of Matheson's original infected, making them feel more like an afterthought than a real, actual threat. The 2007 film makes an effort to explore loneliness, and Will Smith delivers an emotional, nuanced performance. His quiet moments, talking to mannequins and desperately clinging to routine, are genuinely moving. But then the film undercuts itself with CGI creatures that feel out of place and an ending that throws away the novel's core message. The alternate ending gets closer to Matheson's intent, emphasising the tragic irony of Neville's existence, but let's be honest, most audiences only ever saw the theatrical cut, which took a deeply philosophical story and reduced it to yet another Hollywood hero's sacrifice. Heston's Omega Man actually nails the theme of being a relic in a dying world. His Neville isn't just lonely, he's obsolete. The family sees him as the last remnant of a corrupt civilization, a ghost of the past, clinging to a world that no longer exists. Unlike the other versions, Heston's Neville doesn't just endure, he fights back. not just against the infected, but against the very idea that his way of life is over. The family doesn't just want to kill him, they want to erase his existence, his values, and everything he represents. He's not just surviving, he's resisting a new world order, and that conflict is what makes this story so compelling. The 1964 film ends on a tragic note, staying relatively close to Matheson's vision, but it lacks impact. Heston's death in The Omega Man is iconic. His blood, literal and symbolic, becomes the hope for the future. It's a little heavy-handed, admittedly, but it works. It feels earned. And then there's Will Smith's ending, the absolute worst of the bunch. Instead of realising he is the monster, like in the book, he just lobs a grenade. Boom! Problem solved. The alternate ending is better, but too little, too late. So what have we learned? While The Last Man on Earth is faithful but lacks energy, and I Am Legend goes Hollywood and forgets the book's actual message, The Omega Man strikes the right balance. It has action, atmosphere, social commentary, and one of the coolest leading men of the era. It may not be a perfect adaptation, but it's the most watchable, the most engaging, and the one that sticks with you the longest. And that's why The Omega Man remains the best version of I Am Legend.
He's not the last man on Earth, but he's mankind's last hope.
Like, subscribe, and tell me what you think in the comments. What's your favourite version of I Am Legend? Or are you still waiting for Hollywood to get it right? Until next time, stay legendary.